All right, welcome to day 4 of the Personal Injury Marketing 21-Day Challenge. I'm Ed O'Keefe, founder of PI Wingman, helping personal injury attorneys become locally famous on the niches and the cases that you want to be known for. So today we're going to talk about the 2 most important metrics that you need to be looking at and understanding if you decide to play in the paid media game. This is very important even if you're already spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, even millions. And it's even more vital if you guys are working with an agency and you're just out of the gate spending $10K, $30K a month, and you're trying to figure out, Ed, I'm trying to get a handle on all this stuff. What should I be looking at? So you can get really granular, and then the moment you get super granular, you start glazing your eyes over. And that's a tactic that's used by a lot of salespeople when they start talking to you. So let me give you the simple stuff, right? So when I look into business, first thing I do is I look at top down, right? Because it'll give you, the big chunks will start popping out. And so when we look at the big chunks, we look at case value and revenue on the right-hand side, and then you go all the way over to the left and you look at what does it cost to get our average case. So after that number, well, I'll stick right there for a second. So those are the 2 most important things. What's our average case value per niche, and what is the average case cost? And those are the two elements that you're measuring, you're monitoring for, that you're basing your cash flow timelines on, whether you need to get funding to help that timeline or not. And then underneath the cost side is where you would ask yourself and your team, what does it cost us per lead? That's the next number. And then you go one layer down, and what's the cost per lead by source? And this is very important to understand. You're gonna have different sources act wildly different. And so let's say your most highly qualified lead is somebody that comes in off a local search ad for a very specific keyword, nursing home, injury, hire an attorney, something like that. Or looking for an attorney near me for car accident, and then say they come in as a lead. We also, the reason why we want to have a YouTube presence that educates on your defined market. Now, if you haven't listened to my rant about why defining your markets as separate profit centers, even if it's only mentally, and treating them as individual business centers is so vital for today's AI, social media, and marketing, and the speed of access and the ability to win more cases at a lower cost per case because you're the only one who thinks this way. Make sure you watch one of my other lessons on this on our YouTube channel, which is interesting. See how I just sent you to my YouTube channel? Your YouTube channel, you need to start thinking of as one of your best friends. They're selling for you. So when we look at that, we look at cost per lead, then cost per lead by source. And you can't really track billboards directly, but if you're someone who spends a lot of money on billboards, even though we know it's not as effective as it used to be, if you're somebody who has that kind of budget and you're throwing the money at it, they're feeding into your ecosystem, right? So they hit your website, they talk to your call center, whatever it might be, they're going to bounce to your YouTube channel. They're going to look at your Instagram, depending on their most relevant social media that they use the most. If it's a professional thinking of helping a family member, they're gonna use LinkedIn. So if your LinkedIn is dried up and not being helpful for people, those are the other things to look at. So if you don't know this data, make sure that you join us at one of our virtual events coming up, or I'm sure we have a few of our PDFs in the comments that you can get more information on how to fill these things out. But you want to know that because we apply the 80-20 rule to everything we do, right? Pareto's principle that 20% of your best results are coming from your top 20% of good results and best cases are probably coming from 20% of your effort. And we want to line those 2 things up. It's going to eliminate a lot of waste. It's going to bring back time. And it's going to let you know the best way to scale, whether you want to add more attorneys to your firm or add more locations. You now have the right metrics in place for you to focus. So 2 most important metrics that you got to look at right away is, hey, what's it costing us per case? And what is the average value per case? And then you break those up by niches. Super important. If your agency is just lumping them all into one, say, hey, thanks for sending me that. This is how you say it. Thanks for sending that over. Can you get me a more specific number by case that we're bringing in? And the next question you can ask is and then the next questions you could ask is what creatives and stuff were they clicking on? But when you're using an agency, you usually don't have creative control. So that's one of the things we would want to look at. So hey, hopefully you enjoyed this. You got to know your average case, cost per case, per niche, and then your average revenue per niche. And then I like looking at the timeline on that because you want to know average timeline. Does it take from lead all the way to, or signed case all the way to when the money's in the bank? And then you have your right numbers to make the investments in the right areas so that you can scale appropriately and make sure you're not scaling the wrong things. So Ed O'Keefe here. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you can leave comments, let me know. Or if you want to subscribe, let me know. That'd be amazing. And then hope you enjoyed it. All right, take care now, guys. Bye.